Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Please pray for me. I really need this. Please pray for me by leaving a dislike on this video. Today is January 13, 2025, and I am once again feeling the brunt of serious heartache syndrome. What had happened is that I had just come home from Taipei, where I really hit it big with a girl there, and I am heartbroken. I have been unable to focus, and it's very reminiscent to just 3 months ago when I was really heartbroken. I can't tell you which one is worse. They were very different situations, but 3 months ago, I hadn't dated in a long time, and having difficulty asking anybody out, and it kind of became its own downward spiral. The more I failed, the worse I got at doing it, and my life precipitously spun out of control as a result. I got myself addicted to making art. And so I also got a ton of really good reviews at work because I buried my head in my work. But my social life precipitously spiraled downward, nosedived. And so I was a mess. I was a complete basket case at the time. I was living with two roommates, including the owner of that home. And so I'd have difficulty maintaining any sort of order there. The roommate, not the owner, but the other roommate, really hated me during that time. I was staying up late. I was having difficulty keeping clean and all that. Finally, my friend at the church set me up on a date, and for once, I actually felt a sense of ease in my life. I went home and I cleaned up the place, and the next day, I made sure my girlfriend came over so that the two of us could, so that not only could I explain to the landlord that was the problem, I could actually show the landlord that was the problem. I insisted she come over. My girlfriend didn't understand why she needed to come over, but I made it. I said, it'd be nice to meet my landlord, my other roommate, but she didn't understand the significance of that. I kind of scammed her. Anyway, that was that. It turned out the girl that my friend at the church introduced me to was more like a a lifelong friend, not really a relationship material. And then I took the trip to Taiwan. My grandmother passed away. I went to her funeral, and I told my grandmother to talk to Mary Curry to see if she could arrange a date between her great great granddaughter with me. I was thinking, I actually had a few girls in mind I was already thinking of. 7 years ago, I was staying in a hostel in Warsaw, Poland, and I didn't hit it big with the girl at the time, but eventually we rekindled things. I still haven't gotten a chance to go back there, though. And I was also thinking about Evelina Falenta, the second place winner of Polish Idol season one. And I was hoping that my grandmother could convince Mary Curry to set up one of her great great granddaughters, right, on a blind date with me. And so now Mary Curry discovered polonium 210, which is now made from bismuth. So I left a small rock of bismuth. I want to say it was about half a pound in my grandmother's casket so that she could bring it to Mary Curry, and then the casket was cremated, and her ashes put in an urn. So in that urn, I wonder what that bismuth turned into. The problem, now that I think about it, the problem is that I think in her casket there was all sorts of other jewelry and decorations. So the bismuth might have gotten alloyed with gold, silver, whatever. I wonder if it would still form crystals in that kind of condition. Right. Not to mention that cremation is very high temperature. Well, I guess it might not have oxidized the bismuth because organic material like human flesh and bone especially would be really good at reducing bismuth oxide back to bismuth, right? That's very similar to what you do after you have a lot of slag, right? You heat it up with charcoal, right? So who knows? I wonder what's in that urn, right? Nobody really got to look at it. It's just placed in a indoor cemetery in Taiwan, actually. So, but then I went on to a dating website while I was still in Taipei, and I met a girl, and we hit it big. And to give you an idea, when we took the subway back, I needed to go to Tom Sui. She needed to get off at the Taipei main station. When she got off at Taipei main station, we both had tears in our eyes. And so I watched her walk out into I was looking at the window. I watched her walk up the escalators, and I felt like I felt like part of my body walked away from me. I really did. I really did. And then I had to fly home the next day. And that flight home was just so painful. And for the first time, I usually use flights home as a way to digitally detox, right? So there's no Wi-Fi up there. But for the first time in my life, I found myself buying Wi-Fi on a plane. And had some good conversations while I was took my mind off of flying. That 10.5 hour flight felt like it only took 2 hours because I was talking to her during that whole flight. Just took my mind off of it. But now that I'm back home, I'm once again heartbroken. But tomorrow I get to go to the speed dating event, and I really want you guys to pray as hard. Pretend this were life threatening, right? Pretend that I were going in for chemotherapy, or that I were. Pretend that I got in serious trouble for trying to corner the market in bismuth, right? After all, that has happened. That isn't too hard to imagine here in the United States, right? Pretend that tomorrow I had to go on trial for trying to manipulate the markets in bismuth. Pray as hard as if that were the case, right? I really, really need it because I'm heartbroken. I can't focus on my work. This is kind of the opposite. Last time I was so heartbroken, I buried my head in my work. This time I can't even focus anymore. This one's kind of worse in some ways, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.